Today, we're going to talk about a demon in human form. When he confessed to the police about the crimes he committed, they called him a liar. They said he was only admitting to these acts to make himself appear dangerous and feared because, simply put, no one could do what he claimed to have done. His response? Fine, you can go to this address. And he described the location of a specific barn. He said, you can check it yourself. When the police went there, they were shocked to find his words were true. That's when they realized they were dealing with the smartest serial killer in all of American history. When they tried to get more details from him, he replied that he was ready to fully cooperate and tell them everything, but only on one condition. He wanted them to sign a request for his immediate execution after he revealed everything. He didn't want trials or any hassle, and what he confessed was simply unbelievable. Today, I'm going to tell you a story you'll never forget and will stay on your mind forever. In 2012, on the first day of February, in the American state of Alaska, the weather was wintry, with snow everywhere. A young man named Dwayne was on his way to pick up his girlfriend Samantha from work. She worked at a small coffee shop on the side of the road and was the only employee on duty that day. Dwayne planned to arrive just as Samantha finished her shift. He timed everything carefully so he wouldn't be late. The weather was harsh and freezing, and he didn't want her to wait outside for long in such cold conditions. When he arrived right on time, he was shocked to see that all the lights were off, and the shop looked closed. He parked his car near the shop and thought, maybe Samantha finished her shift early. Did I arrive late? Or did someone else give her a ride home? He pulled out his phone to call her, only to find a message from her saying, I'm spending a few days with my friends. Please let my family know, and don't worry about me. This struck him as odd. Dwayne had been in a relationship with Samantha for a while, and he knew her writing style and way of speaking. This message didn't sound like her at all. That's exactly what made him feel something was wrong. Dwayne immediately called her father to tell him what had happened. Her father also found it suspicious and agreed with Dwayne's concerns. Together, they decided to contact the police. The police reached out to the shop owner, who said he had no idea where Samantha was or what had happened to her. However, he mentioned that the shop had surveillance cameras recording everything that happened. He was very cooperative with the police and allowed them to review the footage. When the police watched the video, they were certain Samantha was in serious danger. The surveillance footage showed Samantha making coffee for a customer in the shop. Everything seemed normal, and it was clearly just another ordinary workday, until she handed the coffee to the customer and then looked behind her. It appeared that the customer had asked her, "What's behind you?" Samantha glanced over her shoulder, and when she turned back to him, her expression changed to fear. She stepped back nervously and raised her hands as if the customer had pulled a weapon on her. Moments later, the lights in the shop went out, seemingly following the instructions of the armed individual, which made the footage harder to interpret. However, the police could still make out that Samantha opened the cash register, took out all the money, and handed it to the armed individual. Then, in a chilling turn of events, the masked man wearing a ski mask to conceal his identity, climbed through the shop window, grabbed Samantha, and led her out of the shop before disappearing into the night. The police questioned Dwayne and Samantha's father, asking if either of them could identify the person in the video. Unfortunately, with the shop lights turned off and the ski mask covering the armed man's face, neither of them could determine the identity of the kidnapper. After 18 days of complete silence, with no news about Samantha, a sudden breakthrough occurred. A message was sent to Dwayne's phone from Samantha's number. The message contained an address and specific details. Dwayne immediately rushed to the police and showed them the message, prompting the authorities to head straight to the location mentioned. When they arrived, they discovered a plastic bag containing a note and a photograph. The photograph showed Samantha holding a newspaper with that day's date, serving as proof that she was still alive. The note, however, was chilling. It stated that if they wanted Samantha returned alive, they needed to transfer $30,000 to her personal bank account. Samantha's family, desperate to get her back and clinging to hope after 18 days of uncertainty, complied with the kidnapper's demand. They went to the bank and transferred the requested amount into Samantha's account. This was where the police stepped in. They instructed the bank to alert them of any withdrawals from Samantha's account, tracking the time and location of each transaction in hopes of catching the kidnapper and rescuing Samantha. Days passed without any withdrawals, leaving the account untouched. Then, suddenly, alerts began pouring in. The account's card was being used at various ATMs in different locations. The police quickly moved to the locations reported by the bank. Strangely, every time they arrived at an ATM where the card had been used, they found no one there. The kidnapper seemed to always stay one step ahead. However, surveillance cameras captured the person withdrawing money from Samantha's account based on the timestamps from each ATM. The footage revealed a person wearing a ski mask, confirming to the police that it was indeed the same abductor. Unfortunately, this wasn't particularly helpful, as the ski mask concealed the suspect's features. Still, by tracking nearby surveillance cameras, the police managed to identify the car the abductor was driving. Although the vehicle had been parked at a distance from the ATM, its movements led investigators to determine that it was a white Ford Focus. A nationwide alert was issued with the car's description and license plate number. Days passed as authorities searched for the vehicle. Then, an alert came through. The bank reported that Samantha's card had been used again, this time in Texas. Considering the distance between Alaska and Texas, which would take several days to drive, the FBI contacted Texas law enforcement, informing them of the case and the car's details. After distributing the information to all officers across Texas, one officer spotted a vehicle matching the description. The officer pursued the car and instructed the driver to pull over. The driver, later identified as Israel Keys, cooperated with the officer, providing his license and car registration. However, upon searching the car, the officer discovered Samantha's personal phone and her bank card. Without hesitation, the officer arrested Keys and transported him to the nearest police station for questioning. The investigators handling the case in Alaska traveled to Texas to continue questioning the suspect and find out Samantha's whereabouts, whether she was alive or dead. When they began interrogating him, they were struck by how unnervingly calm and composed he was, as if nothing weighed on his conscience. To their shock, he confessed everything they wanted to know without hesitation or resistance. The suspect revealed that he was highly intelligent and had outsmarted the authorities. Much of what the police believed they knew about the case turned out to be entirely wrong. He began his chilling confession saying, "Before anything else, don't get your hopes up. I killed Samantha the same day I abducted her. To be honest, I didn't know Samantha personally. I just spotted the coffee shop at night and decided it was the perfect place and time to kidnap someone." He continued, "I ordered coffee from Samantha, then threatened her with my weapon. I told her to turn off the lights, hand over all the cash in the register, and come with me to the car. She was terrified, but I calmed her down. I told her, 'Don't be scared. I'm only kidnapping you for money. If you cooperate, I'll let you go and won't hurt you.' She believed me, calmed down a little, and complied, hoping I'd release her. But in reality, I had no intention of letting her live." He added, "When I asked for her bank card, she swore she didn't have it with her and that it was in her boyfriend Dwayne's car. I told her, 'That's fine. Just tell me the make and model of Dwayne's car, his home address, and the PIN for your card.' After getting all the information, I tied her up and drove to the address she gave me. I found Dwayne's car, managed to unlock it, and found Samantha's card inside. However, the car alarm went off. Dwayne heard the alarm from inside his house and rushed outside to see what was happening. He shouted at me and went back inside to get his father. By the time they came back out, I had disappeared. My plan was complete. I had Samantha's card, and there was no longer any reason for her to live. Israel then confessed that he returned to Samantha and killed her. All of this happened on the same day he kidnapped her. This led to a strange question. If Samantha had been killed the very day she was abducted, how did Israel send the police a photo of her holding a newspaper dated 18 days after the kidnapping? On the same day Samantha was abducted and murdered, Israel prepared his suitcase as he had a cruise trip planned with his family the following day. He went on the trip, enjoyed himself, and returned to find himself in need of money. That's when he devised a twisted plan to use Samantha's body in a scheme to extort money from her family. In a move no one could have anticipated, he bought a newspaper with the current date, placed it next to Samantha's body, propped her eyes open, using glue to make it appear as though she were alive, and took a photo of her holding the newspaper. With this, he successfully deceived the police and Samantha's family into believing she was still alive, enabling him to extort money from them. When the police questioned him about Samantha's body, he revealed chilling details. After taking the photo with the newspaper, I took her body to a frozen lake. I drilled through the ice, and when I reached the water, I dumped her body. The police, skeptical of his story, sent search teams to the location. To their shock, they discovered that his account was true. They found Samantha's dismembered body and managed to retrieve it piece by piece. The brutality and precision with which the body had been handled made them doubt this was his first crime. They confronted him, asking if Samantha was his first victim. He responded with a sinister laugh and said, "No, I'm not your average killer. I'm a serial killer, and Samantha was my final victim, my retirement, so to speak." He continued, "If you want to know more, I'm willing to tell you everything I've ever done and share details you could never have dreamed of knowing. But on one condition, you must sign official documents agreeing to fulfill my request." When they asked what his request was, he replied, "After I tell you everything, I want an immediate execution. I don't want to go to prison, and I don't want to stand trial. I simply don't have the time or patience for your stupid bureaucracy." The authorities agreed to his terms and proceeded to make the arrangement. Here, Israel began to speak, stating, "Firstly, I want to tell you that anything I've done was impossible for you to uncover without my guidance. Every act I committed was carried out with caution and meticulous planning. The evidence is clear. None of the cases involving my victims were solved, and they were registered as missing persons." He went on to say that he enjoys traveling and frequently finds himself in new locations, never knowing exactly when his urge to kill will strike. Because of this, he prepares in advance for each destination by setting up what he calls kill boxes in strategic locations across different parts of America. Each box contains a weapon, ropes, money, and tools used for his crimes. He emphasized that none of his victims had any prior relationship with him. He selects them randomly based on the right time and place. There is no preference for gender, male or female, just that they become a threat in his presence. The police pressed him, asking for evidence and the names of his victims. He responded that 2 individuals, Bill and Lauren, were among the most famous missing persons because they suddenly disappeared without a trace. When asked if they knew them, the police confirmed they did. He then revealed, "Bill and Lauren were among the first people I killed." The police, however, suspected he was lying, using the missing persons cases to make himself seem important and terrifying. To verify his claims, Israel described the exact locations of Bill and Lauren's bodies, saying they were in a barn a mile away from their home. Police proceeded to the address, and upon investigation, they discovered both bodies at the specified site. Not only that, but they also found the kill box Israel mentioned he used for the murders of Bill and Lauren, proving his story was accurate. He further provided details of 8 more victims, the methods used in their murders, and the locations of other kill boxes he had used. The police, however, suspected the number of his victims could be even higher. Israel was labeled as the most intelligent serial killer in America, as he always managed to evade detection and prolong investigations. Despite repeated efforts to extract more information from him about his victims, Israel remained firm in his stance, stating, "I don't want headaches. Execute me quickly. I don't have time for your bureaucracy." Before the investigation could proceed further, he was found dead in his prison cell, having committed suicide. A 4-page letter was discovered, revealing how deeply disturbed he truly was. The FBI later confirmed his involvement in cases across New York, Indiana, Alabama, California, and Washington, along with 5 additional kill boxes in 5 other states he had previously not disclosed. Samantha, taken by the hands of darkness, became a symbol of justice. Her tragic death wasn't just a loss of life, but a turning point in uncovering the truth. Because of her sacrifice, the police were able to catch Israel, a serial killer who posed a threat to countless innocent lives. Today, thanks to her bravery, the danger has been lifted, and others have been protected from falling victim to such evil. Samantha will always be remembered as someone who helped preserve the safety of many. Until next time, keep your lights on and your mind in the coffin.